So if you like the idea of some of the step automation examples we looked at in the previous video, but you're more of a kind of regular drum sound programmer, there's no reason why you have to miss out. In this video we're going to look at the same idea but as applied to a more regular kit. So here I've programmed a basic pattern for the default kit within Logic, and we're going to warp this a little bit with some step automation. Let's hear it first. Okay, so there's my basic rhythm, just a 1-bar loop you can see down at the bottom, and I'm going to start with the hi-hat pattern. So if I select that sound, you can see its rhythm programmed down here within the sequencer, and you can see how the sound is variously made up using FM synthesis. But more importantly, we're going to come into the step mode within the sequencer, and what I want to do is to change the pitch of the sound on a note-by-note basis. So I'm going to start. Again, you can see that the original pitch is very high, so even though there are going to be a couple of notes which are going to be sort of above that line, the majority of the steps are going to be lower, so that the pitch of this hi-hat drops and rises a little bit in places too. And that's quite subtle, but it works really nicely, just giving a little bit of variation. Let's just try some changes in here with more below the line. Okay, so that's just providing a little bit of subtle change from a pitch point of view. The next thing I want to do is to change the envelope on this sound. I want to be able to have different lengths for a couple of my snare drums too, a couple of the hi-hats too. So I'm just selecting a longer release time, and you can see the envelope's changing, which provides me with a couple of sort of open hi-hat sounds within the pattern as well. Let's switch now to the snare. And you can see how the snare is made up. You can see which elements are being used. And I'm going to start by changing the pitch in oscillator 2. So having selected this sound and having seen which notes are active down there at the bottom within the sequencer, just 4 of them, what I can do is to change the pitch of those notes so that we get some pitch change from one step to the next. I'm doing that for both pitch within oscillator 1 and within oscillator 2 as well, to really pull that sound around. Let's hear that. Okay, so that's working quite nicely, obviously providing some variation. I'm also going to try change the asymmetry dial here within oscillator 2 and the resolution slider as well. As you can see, as I introduce a new parameter, it's then just a question of going to the notes and changing them however you like. Let's also change some symmetry stuff with regards to oscillator number 1. And I can come down here within this little parameter view and change parameters just by selecting them. That's nice, that's making that snare much more kind of glitchy, working really nicely now. Okay, now it's time to turn to the kick. And for this particular sound, again, I'm going to have a quick look at which settings are available. You can see which sounds are being used, which waveforms are being used. And again, I'm going to start here with the saturation amount on oscillator 1. This is a slightly busier pattern, so we've got more scope for change here. That's really making a big fundamental difference to the pattern. So I can then come out of step automation mode, and if I suddenly decide that I need more notes, I can introduce those before switching back to step automation mode and simply changing the values that I want. So here I want a busier kick at the end. Which allows me to create this ramp. So even if you're a regular drum programmer, step automation mode can still be really powerful.